Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Where I Went Wrong. And in this edition of Where I Went Wrong, I'll be doing Where I Went Wrong, UFC 271, Adesanya versus Whittaker 2. And I know some of y'all thought this video wasn't coming, like what, the fight was Saturday, Sunday passed, well, all of Saturday passed, which will happen typically because the fights end up by Sunday basically, like in around Sunday. Yeah, Saturday gone, Sunday gone, and now here I am mid-Monday dropping this video and making it. But yeah, but here it is. You know, I'm not gonna allow it to pass. Like I say, every single fight card, there's mistakes that have been made and stuff to improve on. Like I said, even if I got a perfect card, there would be stuff to look at and take note of. But not a perfect card with 10 and 4, 10 and 14, pretty solid. A lot of people say easy card just in general for everyone, but 10 and 4 solid enough. 10 and 14, solid. So 10, 4, but yeah. But let's see, like, where did I go wrong with this card? Like, the 4 picks I went wrong on, and maybe some other stuff might be in there. But let's just start running it down. So first fight, Maxim Grishin versus William Knight. Perfect. I said decision. William Knight awkward. It definitely wasn't. I thought it would be kind of a close, just based on how William Knight fights and how awkward he is and how bad judges can be. But Maxim Grishin made it look easy and got his. I feel like the fight played out pretty much how I thought it would, but it was no confusion who won. Shut him out on the scorecards, I believe. Like a unanimous decision for Maxim Grishin over William Knight. So not much to look at as far as that one. Perfect pick. On to the next. So Jeremiah Wells versus Blood Diamond. So the biggest elephant in the room, or the diamond in the room, was Blood Diamond. I went with him really because like I said, every card you kind of got to throw out a little bit of wild card in there, and Blood Diamond was that for me. Not because I was so high on him or I really thought he had such a great chance to win, but one, I didn't like Jeremiah Wells. Jeremiah Wells is pretty wild, but at least this fight showed that even though as wild as he is and reckless as he can be, he's not just, I mean, he obviously has the brain. I'm going there with a striker with not that much experience. I'm going to put him on the ground, pound him, and tap him out. And that's what he did. So it's not like he's a complete wild man. He has some sense. So that's for sure. And I know he has some sense, but I thought Blood Diamond's takedown must be a little better. But even watching Blood Diamond's tape, he wasn't like the prettiest striker or like blew me away, being such a technical, clean striker. He was, like I said, he's unorthodox. He's weird himself. Thought he'd be able to weather the storm, but got put on the mat and could not weather the storm. I thought more so would be like Jeremiah Wells try and maul him on the feet, try to throw these strikes, and not really landing cleanly and wear himself out. Maybe try to mix it to the ground, but Blood Diamond's takedown offense will be able to stuff some takedowns, or be able to maintain a kind of a neutral position on the ground where he's not taking as much damage. Maybe wait his time to get back up to his feet, but ultimately Jeremiah Wells leading early but fading, and Blood Diamond coming back and put him away. But it wasn't the case. But it wasn't a very confident pick on my side, which is a pick where I just went with a dog. But going forward, I'm not gonna make not necessarily gonna make these picks. I might have a fight where I really don't like a fighter at all, and I might pick him. But I'm gonna try at least to not do that for the rest of this year. Try to, and not go with a guy that don't really have much behind him, but go with him merely because I'm not a big fan of the other guy's style or who they are, or maybe, but I was like, just a bad pick on my side. But anywho, bad pick. A guy with a striking background coming over with like 4 or 5 fights, going in with a guy who's primarily a grappler. In most cases, your best money is on the guy that's the more experienced, the grappler versus the striker. More experience in the grappler fighter versus the guy who's just a striker. Yeah, but the worst pick I made on the card, really going forward, outside of this one pick, the other picks I don't feel bad about, but I'm going to get to them. Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Sergey Morozov. And like I said, I'm going to get to them. My very next fight was another pick I got wrong, Morozov versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. And with this one, if they fought again in weeks, I would pick Morozov again with even more confidence. I feel in this one, Morozov, this is a fighter error, not a predictor error or a capper error. Sometimes fighters go out there, they're human, they get cocky, they get confident, they get overconfident, which Morozov did. He was, he was doing whatever he wanted to do to Douglas Silva de Andrade in the first round, was taking him down at will, dropping him at will. And then in the second round, he forgot the fact that he was, well, I guess maybe he didn't acknowledge the reason he was having all that success because he was being a mixed martial artist, and he tried to strike with Douglas Silva de Andrade, got overconfident, and he started to get dropped. But if he would have kept mixed up the wrestling, mixed up the striking, he probably would have got a stoppage in the second round himself. But you start forgetting, what's the recipe is and why you're finding that success. And you start doing stuff off, outside of the plan, that stuff happens to you. And Morozov clearly isn't no high caliber talent. Well, he's not no top tier talent. And that stuff like this is why. You do dumb stuff like this. You get off your game plan. You get cocky. Start doing stuff you're not supposed to do. And then you end up getting on the other side of somebody else's highlight reel. And that's what happened to him. He forgot about his wrestling. Started striking too much. And stopped wrestling. And got stopped. And it's that simple as that. But going forward, if they fought again, I think he would be fight a lot more safe, go out there out the ground on the decision, or break him down tactically and stop him, and not just fight one-dimensional. And I think it would be an easier fight. I don't think Doug Silva and Andrade are going to improve so much from this fight. He's going to probably have a little bit of unwarranted confidence, I guess. But going forward, I would pick Morozov again. Even after a loss, I would pick Morozov again in this one. So I don't feel bad at all about that pick. I feel like he's a more well-rounded fighter. I feel like he's an overall better fighter. He just went out there and let his ego get the best of him. Then to our next fight, we had Jacob Malcolm versus Aj Dobson. And a lot of people were feeling iffy about this one and very confident in Dobson for absolutely no reason. Dobson's a sloppy striker. I don't care if you really got any bit of striking experience at all. If you say this and say that, you know Dobson ain't striking ain't worth much of anything. Can buy you a Happy Meal. That man striking ain't good. Sloppy striking. We got power. We got some size on him. Wrestling technique ain't all that great. Grappling technique ain't all that great. He's a big body with some power and some strength, but no real skill behind it. That's the truth. I saw Jacob Malcolm with this cleaner, more polished fighter, also training with Robert Whittaker, and I see that they have some pretty good wrestling and jiu-jitsu, MMA grappling to them. And I saw how he's using his Razak Al Hassan. So like I can see him doing the same thing to Dobson for the most part. And what happened? He did. I expect him to go out and just run through him. At no point did I say run through him. I said like a decision. He gonna stay measured, stay composed, settle fight down, mix up his striking, mix up his takedown, find those opportunities off the sloppiness of Dobson, which he did. So perfect prediction decision. At no point was I shook by anything that Dobson did. Dobson looked just like who I thought he was. He did have more composed moments, but that was after getting taken down. He really had to settle down. But he was who I thought he was. Malcolm was who I thought he was. Not impressed by either guy, but the guy I picked won. Perfect pick. On to the next. Ryan Lawrence versus Manny Martinez. Pretty much a perfect pick. But I think I said third round stoppage for Lawrence. And Lawrence almost got stopped in the third round. But outside of that, the first 2 rounds were looking just like I imagined. Matter of fact, even better. He was dropping him. He was making it. Manny Martinez was making Ronnie Lawrence look like Wonder Boy, prime Wonder Boy. So looking a lot more dominant than I expected. And then the third round, just like that, almost got upset. Just like that in the third round, but was able to rally and go work for some takedowns and survive to a decision. But nonetheless, got his hand raised and good performance from Ronnie Lawrence, but definitely got to look back on something so that don't happen. Because that's not a good look at that third round. Carlos Uber versus Fabio Chiron. I thought he would put Chiron away, but Chiron clearly was just there to survive and not there to fight. Looking for one big shot at a time, but not committing, not pressing. That was not the way to beat Uberg. That's the way to survive against Uberg. Like, he clearly just respected Uberg too much. And I guess he didn't like getting knocked out by William Knight, so I guess he didn't want to go unconscious again. So he didn't even risk take risks to actually get a chance of winning, and just took no risks and survived. Kind of similar to what Robert Whittaker did, but hey, Robert Whittaker fans feel like he won that fight. But anybody with eyes feel like Robert Whittaker lost, but same thing right there. A guy that's fighting not to lose versus, instead of fighting to win. You didn't get stopped, but you definitely did not win. That's what happened with Chiron. That's what happened with Whittaker. Say what you want, but the reality is that's what happened. Whittaker ain't won nothing. Nobody want to see no rematch. It was not close. Kyla Phillips versus Marcela Rojo was the next fight. And pretty much like I expected, Phillips was dominating him everywhere, and then eventually got to stop it. I thought it was going to be a decision, but he's like, I see this finish materialize, and put him away in the third round. Beautiful submission from Phillips. Beautiful jiu-jitsu as well. Right person, not the perfect pick, but happy with what I saw. I think I actually had on another side, I had a third round submission, but my YouTube, whatever case, was a little bit off. Sometimes these little predictions, you look at it a little bit more, look at a little more of these particular kind of shifts, but ultimately, the part I picked remained the same on platforms. But yeah. Casey O'Neill versus Roxanne Modafferi. 229 significant strikes to 120, and some people act like this was so close, but anywho, disappointed with Casey O'Neill. Roxanne Modafferi was Modafferi, but Casey O'Neill did not look like the king. She looked like I was not gonna say Jester. She looked like the I don't know. What's a card you could say? Maybe a jack. She looked like a jack. She was not no king. She was the jack. Not no ace, not no queen. She was the jack out there. Roxanne Modafferi was like a regular face card or something, or no, a regular little card. Well, but anywho, she looked all that impressive. Was disappointed by her grappling. Striking was there, but she was just better. That's all. Was a clear win for Casey O'Neill, but a disappointing, unimpressive win for Casey O'Neill. And this probably should have been a breakout performance for her to get herself, but this is not a one. This fight actually said move laterally. We were saying you was a fighter that could move on the fast track, but now you're not that impressive. Move laterally, work with something, then we get back to you, and then you move up. But they probably still gonna move her up after this fight, and then she could likely, in all likelihood, lose because they move her up and face the same level of competition that just beat Roxanne Modafferi, those Talia Santos and etc., maybe even the Viviane Pereira. Well, man, I'm mixing her name, but by the way, the two most recent women that beat Roxanne Modafferi, they both would beat her at this given moment. She needed to move laterally, maybe take some step down, maybe fight a Macy Barber or something, and then or somebody like that, and hope to rebound, or maybe what's her name? The chick Macy Barber just beat recently. I forget. Oh, Miranda Maverick. That's that level of competition. But going forward, she don't move up. You gotta move laterally. But anywho, next fight: Andre Arlovski versus Jared Vanderer. Just as I expected. Jared Vanderer all right and whatnot. He did have a little better control with the clinch control than I expected. But ultimately, it was a guy that's all right, but a guy that Arlovski could dance around, outstrike. Well, out-chest him. He got outstruck by 6 points. I mean, 6 significant strikes Arlovski did, but clearly he landed more significant strikes and looked like he controlled the pace and controlled the movements and the striking ranges. And the judges just saw like they liked his strikes more. A little bit of differential. He was on a deficit, but his strikes were received more by the judges. In another close chess match, and clearly the fight Vanderer should have pressed a little bit more, landed a couple shots more, but feet were too flat, too slow to really close that gap off to cut him off. And ultimately not do anything all that effective. The best thing he could do was hold him against the cage. That was his best moments when he was holding him against the cage. No real clean lands in the center of the cage, against the cage, just hold him against the cage and landing little petty shots to pile up points. That's the best thing he could do. And keep Arlovski from moving. The best thing he could do to keep Arlovski from moving was hug him against the cage. That's all he could do. So that's the level of fighter he is. Vanderer is. But on to the next one. I'm not saying if I want these fights, but you already know, I already said my other two coming up. So all these other picks have been right outside of the Blood Diamond fight and Morozov fight so far. And then in the next fight, we have Bobby Green versus Nasrat Haqparast. And I know some statesmen, some kinmen, or whatever you would call it, people from the same country or in the same race or ethnicity or whatever you may be from Haqparast were like saying, I'm picking Haqparast because I'm biased. Oh, I'm black, I'm picking Bobby Green. I feel like anybody with any sense knows Bobby Green should win that one. Now, Haqparast has a good shot on paper. Clearly in the fight he didn't, but on paper he had a good shot, a good enough shot. But good money was on Bobby Green. Haqparast just got picked apart by Dan Hooker, got taken down, didn't. So you really expect him to have no great rest of success, and he didn't. Striking wise, he was just very limited, stiff, and looking for a big one, big shots. Bobby Green is slicker, smooth, got solid defense. So that man wasn't really going to hit him with nothing effective, and Bobby Green picked him apart. And we've seen Bobby Green in there with Rafael Fiziev, probably one of the better strikers in the division, for him very close. So what Haqparast was going to do? Not much, anything. The best thing he could do was look to outpace him. That was his best opportunity. Outpace, outwork him, maybe go for some takedowns, score some takedowns, press the pace, maybe throw some shots. Don't have to necessarily land them because the judges see every shot is landing, even if it's landing on arm. So throw up a lot of volume, go for the takedowns, and potentially get an ugly decision that shouldn't go his way, but the judges just favor aggression and activity over actual substance. But that was his best opportunity to win off volume and lack of substance. But he clearly didn't get none of those things. Bobby Green outthrew him, outlanded him, outmoved him, outmaneuvered him, and Haqparast just once again showed he's not at this level yet. Maybe never ever, but clearly at this point he's not. And Bobby Green was just ahead of him in every single facet of the game. Perfect prediction decision. So yeah. Next one, we had Hanato Moicano versus Alexander Hernandez. I probably had like 4 people in the comment section saying, oh, you're wrong, I don't agree with you. But played out almost like I thought it would, in a way. But yeah, very interesting video here. But ain't editing that out. But yeah, Hanato Moicano versus Alexander Hernandez. Yeah, a couple people disagreeing, but ultimately Hanato Moicano was the more composed fighter. Hernandez once again head hunting, look for a lot of shots, and getting lost within the fight. He's still fighting like he a rookie out there. And Hanato Moicano was just ultimately just overall the more composed fighter. Hernandez, I would say, did have the better of the striking exchanges. Well, no, he didn't. He got dropped. But matter of fact, I can't give Hernandez any props in this fight. He had like with the first round close, but ultimately Hanato Moicano started to figure him out. And once the fight started settling, the more technical fighter prevailed. Landed clean shots, dropped him, dominated him on the ground, and tapped him out. I think I had a third round submission, but then again, I think I had one on a decision, one had this, one that. I need to get these predictions all in one page. Cause I'll be feeling one way, I drop a prediction. Like I said, the fights, my overall who I pick don't change, but I feel like the rounds I be saying be changing and the methods be changing sometimes because I be having, looking at the fight more, and then my prediction ultimately changes. Cause I think my full card prediction was like third round submission for Moicano. My original one, what like months back, was a decision for Moicano, but ultimately again, same person. But yeah, nonetheless, need to keep those on the same page. It's like need to write that down when I actually kind of settle down. But it does become difficult when you be predicting stuff like 2-3 months in advance sometimes, especially if this fight gets moved or maybe you just see it early and you're like, I just want to predict something. And then later on when you're predicting on the week of or 2 weeks of or something like that, your way you feel about a fight changes. Fighter the same, but method be shifting heavy sometimes. In most cases. Well, not in most cases. In some cases. In small cases. Because most cases, but too much talking. Then the next fight, we had Jared Cannonier versus Derek Brunson. My third pick I got wrong was on Cannonier versus Brunson. And I was trying to get on the blonde Brunson train. Like, I've been getting wrong all these Brunson picks. So, like, it's time to get on the train. Like, and I feel like he could win. I feel like I went by by one of my prediction standards that I'm trying to stay a hold on. But, I be on and off sometimes with it. In a close fight, or at least on paper, close fight, go with the guy that's more well-rounded, that's going to do more things. And that was Derek Brunson. I expected him to be I expected it to be the first round. Not with the drop, but like be able to land some clean shots, gain Canada's respect, and then be able to wrestle him and, be able to do that through 3 rounds and get his hand raised. But ultimately, Brunson looked better in the first round than I expected. He was dropping him and stuff and getting him out very easy on Cannonier. But then in the second round, Cannonier was able to find him, hurt him, and that's all it took. And also, I feel like he probably fought at a higher pace than he should have in the first round, kind of wore himself out. And then Cannonier was able to take advantage and put him away in the second round. But that was probably going to be my initial prediction. But then after, like I said, all that stuff happened. Not after all that stuff happened. No, well, yeah. Basically, after this, like I said, this blonde Brunson is undefeated. Let me treat him like an undefeated fighter. I was like, let me just lean to Brunson right here. Like, let me lean to his recent success. Let me lean to the fact that he's going to be the guy doing more things. Cannonier's going to be out there head hunting for the most part, or maybe leg hunting and head hunting. But, yeah, I can't feel too bad about the pick. I went with the more well-rounded fighter. It was a very close fight on paper. And I went with the more well-rounded guy. Yes, Brunson has a history of getting TKO'd and whatnot. But, yeah, I thought he could have success. I thought he could do it right it through a decision. But ultimately was only able to do that through 1 round and not through 3. Only 1. 3 would have been good, but 1. But ultimately, I don't feel bad about that pick. I feel like in the future, overall, versus time and versus track record, the pick like the Brunson pick, not necessarily Brunson himself, but in picks like this, the more well-rounded fighter will typically prevail 9 times out of 10. So it should be something I should stick to. Like, you're not gonna get every single pick right. Every single thing not gonna always be right, but you gotta stick to what's gonna ultimately, over time, prove to be most successful path. Unless in some cases, like, you got deeper and deeper, or you really got a feeling, or you really got some intel, or you really got a hold on the pick, and then you shift. But ultimately, you stick to the recipe, and I should have stuck with. I mean, I did stick with Brunson. Now I will stick with the more rounded fighter. In most cases, like 9 times out of 10, they will win, and 9 times out of 10, I will pick them. Yeah, something like that. But then on to our next fight, we had Tai Tuivasa versus Derek Lewis, and you really can't predict these fights too much. Because, like I said, it's a heavyweight fight, and neither of these guys are necessarily so technical. I did feel like, I did predict Derek Lewis would get that exact trip and takedown, but I thought he would do more ground and pound with that and be able to do more damage. But Tai Tuivasa clearly worked on his jiu-jitsu some. It wasn't a dead fish like the last time, Vivek put him on the ground. So his ground game had improved some, or a good bit. Clinch game improved some. So just a little up-throw improvements allowed him to be able to survive. Also his chin, I guess he got a chin enhancement as well. But he never been officially knocked out. The man has never been separated from consciousness. He's been hurt sometimes. He's been dropped. been busted up, bloodied up, but never been separated from his consciousness. So he got a good chin on him. I guess that's there too. So he's able to weather the storm, get taken down, hit with some heavy ground and pound, get hit with some heavy strikes on the feet, get his knees buckled a couple times in the fight. And I think the real X factor was little short, choppy elbows. And Derek Lewis did not defend them very well at all, and like was letting them white through. And yeah, arms down or arms just not in play, hands not in play. So the elbows were getting right through, cutting him. Well, not cutting him, but dinging him up. That's all she wrote. And another pick I can't necessarily feel bad about, or I can't feel like, oh, what's to do with that. But good for Tai Tuivasa. But going forward, I feel like Derek Lewis is still Derek Lewis until maybe we start seeing him lose some more, depending on how they match him up against. But, you know, the lesser tier competition and some of the upper tier competition, he still could beat. I still feel like Derek Lewis is Derek Lewis. He's going to be able to beat a lot of those guys still. And I don't feel like he's necessarily on the downtrend yet. It's too easy to say. I mean, too early to say. But for Tai Tuivasa, I feel like he's easy money for Curtis Blades. I don't feel like his rest of defense is all that good, especially after what Derek Lewis took him down 2 times. So that's easy money for Curtis Blades. I feel like guys like the world-class strikers will beat him up, like Gon and what's the name, Rosenstruck. I feel like they will mix him up pretty good. So good win for Tai Tuivasa, but all they do is now he gets fed to the wolves, and I feel like Derek Lewis will fare better against those wolves and has fared better against them. But Tai Tuivasa gonna be easy money for them, I feel. No disrespect, but I feel like his grappling is very much exposed, and he's like his striking so clean. It's not that clean. So it's pretty good opens for them. They're not gonna, be necessarily as sloppy as Derek Lewis a lot of these exchanges. They're gonna be cleaner and polished. So those opportunities for Tai Tuivasa won't be there. And again, with the wrestler grapplers, you can take them on Derek Lewis like that easily. These guys are gonna be chopping at the bits to take you down. And they're gonna do it almost at will, I feel. But that's my thoughts. Then on to our final fight, we had Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker. So that's already all of my wrong picks out of the way. Got this pick right. I said third round TKO, but probably, well, I'm gonna say no probably. Third round TKO was a good bet, or well, not a good bet, but a good prediction. I didn't bet on no. I really don't bet on rounds like that too much. But anyway, that was a good pick. Israel Adesanya over Robert Whittaker. But obviously the favorite, so ain't no pick that anybody else was like, oh my gosh, that's such a great pick. Who thought to pick Israel Adesanya? He was the favorite. He beat him before, so it was the pick to go with. And it prevailed. Only thing that people kind of say is that, oh, Whittaker won, but it makes no sense that Whittaker won. Whittaker fought not to lose. I mean, Whittaker fought not to get stopped. He didn't fight to win. That's why I feel that fight. Didn't know a lot of combination. He was fighting a taller guy throwing one shot at a time. At most 2. Barely threw 2 shots at a time. And really came in this lunging and reaching with a jab. That's all he did against a taller man and go for takedowns that he did absolutely nothing with. I would even give the 5th round to Adesanya. Like, look at what the Whittaker did. He got outstruck in the 5th round. He got 1 takedown, I think. And he got a little bit of cage control where he was just holding him against cage, but he was getting hit with heavier strikes, even though he was the one initiating the clinch. He was literally doing nothing in that 5th round. So 4-1 is a gift for Whittaker, I feel. It was not close, it was not controversial. And anyone with sense can't even think that. Like, sometimes like I would like say, oh, yeah, I kind of agree. I can see he kind of won. I can see he did it, but the man fought to not get stopped. Was heavily defending himself, reaching in and just blocking his face. Wasn't doing any combination. That's not a man looking to win. That's a man looking to survive. And hopefully the judges screw over the guy that should have won, but that was not the case. So very bad strategy from Whittaker. Doesn't deserve a rematch. Doesn't deserve a trilogy. Nobody cares to see it. And if they do care to see it, screw them. Nobody wants that fight should not happen again. It's done. It's still in the stone. Maybe in a kickboxing matchup or something. Maybe something like that. Maybe some celebrity fight 10 years down the road where they just try to make some charity fight. But that's the fight your trilogy about to get closed out without a chance for a third one. Unless somehow Adesanya loses to someone else and Whittaker becomes the champion by beating that person, then that trilogy comes. But as long as Adesanya has the belt, no trilogy ever, I feel, because Whittaker, again, fought to not get stopped. He didn't fight to win. Went for scored a couple little takedowns, did absolutely nothing with them. Fought a taller man, 1 strike at a time. That's just a recipe of saying, oh, I don't want to lose. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get knocked out. I don't want to do this. I don't want to take risks. When you're a shorter man, you got to work to get inside, throw some combinations. You don't just work to throw 1 shot, get in, and then have nothing behind it. That's all. Like, that's just saying that anyone with any sense, any eyes, any IQ, any bit of any intel or intelligence, that's just a clear sign that man don't want to win. That man just wants to survive. Because the thing is, the taller man can have that advantage. He could do that. He could be out there, stick you with one little shot here and there. But the shorter man got to come in there. He got to make some stuff happen. He got to press the pace. He got to get on the inside. Those a combination. Unless he coming in there, he throwing like every time you get in there, he might throw one big bomb, but he landing that bomb. He throwing that bomb and landing. He not doing a entry strike. He not doing a range find. He not doing a setup strike, and that's his only strike. A power jab can be a potential fight stopper, but clearly Whittaker's jab wasn't like no super power jab. I think at a moment he might land like 2 power jabs the whole fight, but most of just reachers and setups, range finders. So he just threw a couple knee kicks, probably landed 2 of those, probably landed 2 or 3 good jabs. That's all he did the whole fight. Got takedowns, no significant ground and pound. Got dropped, got struck in every single round, basically. And all the significant strikes really were out of sign, like actual damaging strikes. So, well, maybe 2 for Whittaker out of 25 minutes. So, man lost. Get over it. And that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.